Hello, in this video we're going to take a look at the top 10 false economy purchases. So these are things that are cheap to buy in the first place and then cost you more money in the long run. At number 10 we have cheap batteries. So packs of 20 cheap batteries from your dollar or pound store might seem like a really good bargain, but are they actually worth the money? Well, they're alright for things like remote controls and low power consumption devices, but don't even think about putting batteries like that inside a digital camera or a torch, because you'll use them at about 10 times the rate you would normal batteries. So really my advice here is just wait until you find a deal on Energiser or Duracell batteries. That is, unless you're happy spending all of your time replacing batteries. At number 9 we have cheap tools. So here we're talking screwdrivers, wrenches, even garden tools. Typically they're just made of cheap plastic or cheap metal. So watch as your superhuman strength tears bare metal apart just by using a product for its intended purpose. I've had garden shovels that have literally snapped in half as soon as I've tried to use them for the first time. I've had screwdrivers that have come away from their plastic handle, and I've had cheap screwdriver sets that have just sheared as soon as I've tried to apply any pressure and undo a screw. Trust me, you'll save a lot more money if you just buy good quality tools from the start. At number 8 we have supermarket offers and discount coupons. So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth travelling all the way to a supermarket and spending the fuel to save 50p on something because you've got a voucher? Also, a lot of discounts and offers inside supermarkets are very confusing, so you pick up a load of offers and then you realise after you've left the store that you didn't get the discount you expected, so then you have to go all the way back to the store to sort it out. So that's a pain. Also, when you look at a lot of the offers in supermarkets and actually work out how much you're saving, you will be horrified sometimes at the price. So for example, a common one which I've seen is like 6 yogurts for £2, and you think, oh, 6 yogurts for £2 is pretty good value. And that's actually only a saving of 3 or 6p or something on the full price. At number 7 we have cheap washing up liquid. So basically this stuff just doesn't clean stuff properly, and you have to use twice the amount to clean the same amount of stuff. So you're just better off buying the good quality brands from the start. At number 6 we have cheap paint. So with cheap paint you end up having to do about 1,000 coats to get the same coverage as one paint from a good quality brand. So basically save yourself the money and buy good quality paint from the outset. You'll get a better quality finish as well because you'll have used fewer coats. Now, one thing worth saying is actually that a lot of paint manufacturers are changing the ingredients in their paint at the moment to kind of comply with international laws and such, and that's affecting how good the paint is at coverage on the wall. So before you buy a paint, look it up on the internet, make sure there aren't any reviews saying that the paint is now rubbish. At number 5 we have cheap curtain rails. So this one's a little bit of a joke, and it's not really cheap curtain rails. It's basically any product that's cheap and is therefore more difficult to use as a result of it. My example is a curtain rail. So years ago I bought a cheap telescopic curtain rail to save about £5 on the full price curtain rail. Now, because it's telescopic, it's got a kind of notch in it, and basically it is incredibly difficult, surprisingly difficult, to get the curtain to slide over that notch. And when I'm feeling particularly tetchy, which is usually last thing at night when I'm drawing my curtains, it won't go over that notch, and I've been very close to ripping it off the wall. So do yourself a favour and think about whether or not the cheaper thing is actually worth it in terms of time and frustration. At number 4 we have cheap kitchen towel or toilet paper. So this might seem like a bargain, but typically in the cheaper brands you find that you get far fewer sheets. Also, it falls apart a lot more easily, which is kind of a problem when you're wiping up spills or wiping other areas. Now, they're also less absorbent, so you end up having to use twice as much to mop up the same sort of spills. So basically it's just not worth getting cheap toilet paper or kitchen towel. At number 3 we have cheap shoes. So they're uncomfortable, they can give you blisters, they can hurt your feet, they can split, they're not waterproof. Your feet can get too hot, they can be dangerous, you can fall over on certain surfaces, and also they don't look very good. So there really isn't anything good to say about cheap shoes. At number 2, not buying insurance. So I don't need breakdown cover or travel insurance or boiler cover, do I? That thing will never go wrong. Well, you have to be a bit careful with insurance. Certainly travel insurance. Did you know that if you need to go into hospital in a foreign country, it can cost thousands and thousands of pounds, and then you'll really wish that you bought insurance. Now, some insurance is a waste of time. Sometimes when you go to some sort of consumer electronics shops, they try and sell you insurance on everything from ballpoint pens through to fridges. You have to really work out how likely something is to go wrong and whether or not the cost of repair is going to add up to more than the insurance premium that you've paid up to that point. I think a good example of insurance is breakdown cover. If you've got an old car and you're doing lots of mileage, it would cost a lot of money to have your car towed back home. Finally, at number 1, we have second-hand items. So here we're talking about household items, typically white goods like fridges, freezers, washing machines and ovens, that sort of thing. There are a lot of cheap or even free white good appliances to be found on the likes of Gumtree. Now the problem is usually people put these things on Gumtree because these things are broken or nearing the end of their life, because it's cheaper and easier if you come and pick it up from them so that they don't have to dispose of it. Typically you'll get these things home, they might last a little bit of time and then they'll break down. And with these old items, the cost of repair is too high, and usually in my experience with these items, once they've started to go wrong, everything starts to go wrong with them. So it really is a false economy to buy these second-hand white good appliances. Now I have got a friend actually that got a free oven off Gumtree and he's still using it to this day. But I don't know if I fancy that, because you don't know, somebody might have put a poo inside the oven or something, or maybe that's just my mind. Thanks for watching this video, I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below if you can think of any false economies that I missed out in this list. Also subscribe if you like this sort of thing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another video.